It has taken me far too long to learn different techniques of managing higher and looser output. And while I have learned different ways to try to prevent it, my techniques are not 100% foolproof. Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and I know it's been a few days since I uploaded. If any of you guys are in the Northeast experiencing this heat wave that we're having, it's rough. That's why I'm wearing what I'm wearing, that's why my hair is up and I'm struggling here. But I wanted to make a video because this is something that I just recently thought about. We just took a little day trip in which I wasn't really sure where the bathrooms were gonna be, and my ostomy was having a little bit higher output. That tends to happen when I'm feeling dehydrated, I'm upping my electrolytes, my ostomy output tends to get looser. It's just the more I drink, the faster it comes. Because of that, and because of not knowing where the restrooms were and how often I would be able to empty my ostomy, I did what I could to slow my output, but it just isn't always 100% going to work. I have a number of things, and I've talked about it in videos of ways that I slow my output, I thicken it up, but sometimes there's nothing I can do, and it's gonna be watery and it's gonna be voluminous. So that is what we're gonna be talking about today. I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks of how to manage the loose output when it's already here. Before we get into that though, I think you guys are probably aware that I am all about using technology to improve outcomes, improve quality of life, especially when it comes to Crohn's disease, because that's what I have. And I recently learned about a study that's looking at different mobile apps and their effectiveness with managing Crohn's disease, and they are looking for participants. So if you are somebody who is 18 years or older, diagnosed with Crohn's disease, has a smartphone, and lives in the US, I'm gonna put some study details below if you are interested in looking at that. I love anything related to technology. It's proven helpful for me, so I'm interested to see where this study takes us, but I will put that information in the description below. I'll put it in a pinned comment as well. But yeah, let's get talking about loose output and what we can do when our bags are already filling up. Some of the things I'm going to say are probably pretty obvious. Others you might not have thought about, so I'm just gonna mention it all and take what you want and throw away the rest if you don't like it. I think the first thing that I've really learned is that, I often say like wear what you want with an ostomy, but I definitely tend to tailor my outfits slightly, especially in the summertime when I'm wearing, little dresses like this where I feel like my ostomy is more visible, especially as it becomes full. I want to tailor some of the ways that I dress to minimize its appearance. And one of the things that I really like to do, and I've mentioned this before, is wearing high-waisted biker shorts or ostomy wraps or things like that, just to slim down my belly where my ostomy sits. The thing that I like about those, as opposed to changing my outfit for my ostomy, is that for the most part, I can put on a pair of biker shorts under most things. Like, I'm not changing the outfit for my ostomy, I'm just changing what's underneath of it. Even stuff like, I've noticed this, I noticed it in Walmart and I almost bought them. High-waisted underwear that are actually like pretty cute. As long as they aren't too tightly fitting, as long as they have a bit of stretch to them, it's not so much shapewear but just like high-waisted, I really love them because it slims the ostomy down enough as it fills, but it's not putting so much pressure on it that your stoma has trouble emptying into the bag. Or, worse, it presses your output underneath of your flange because it's got to go somewhere. And then you experience a leak. I have definitely experienced that before. I really like the idea of the high-waisted underwear, and I really kind of want to go back to Walmart to get them. Because rather than the bike shorts, which tend to be really hot this time of year, you gotta wear underwear anyway. Why not wear those? I also really like to keep track and time my meals. Now, Over the years, I've gotten pretty used to when my stoma is going to be active and when it's not active, and it doesn't take a lot of thought on my part. It's something that I just sort of adapted to. But what I mean by this is the few days prior to whatever event I'm going to, I'll keep an eye on my stoma and I'll keep an eye on the timing of my meals. If I have a meal at 4 o'clock, it's pretty typical that my ostomy will immediately become active right after eating, or as I'm eating even, and then slow down within the hour. Then in a few hours, as I start to get hungry, my ostomy will start picking up again, and it's usually more gas than it is output. But that being said, I have a few hours in between where my stoma tends to get a bit more quiet, and that's what I plan for most things. If I'm going on an airplane trip or I'm going to the beach, I will typically eat about an hour before we leave. Gives me time to get my stoma active, get it going, fill the ostomy bag. I empty right before we leave, and I'm good for a few hours. Now, my schedule is not gonna be your schedule. Your stoma is gonna do what it's gonna do, and mine changes. It really depends on if I'm having looser output or if it's, you know, a little bit thicker. So that's why I say, you know, I keep an eye the few days prior to the event or whatever I'm doing that I'm kind of nervous about. I'll keep an eye and see how my stoma is acting. I absolutely do not recommend starving yourself, and I know a lot of people, I've seen it a lot on like Facebook groups for ostomies, people saying, oh, I won't eat if I've got a trip coming up, or I won't eat if I have an event. And honestly, that I would feel awful. I need to eat like every few hours or else I am miserable. Don't make yourself miserable, because then the day is not going to be fun. You know, everybody has to use the bathroom. Just because you use it in a little bit of a different way and maybe a little bit more frequently than others, that's okay. We can use the bathroom. If there's not a bathroom around, I think it's perfectly acceptable to say, hey, we need to go find a restroom, because you would do the same for all the colon-filled people, right? Two things that I think are pretty obvious is empty frequently if you have that ability. If your ostomy is filling up and it is looser output, emptying a little bit more frequently can keep it smaller and less noticeable, and also just wearing a larger ostomy bag. Since I switched from Hollister, those mini pouches, to Convatec, which has a little bit of a longer pouch, I find that I can go a bit longer, like quite a bit longer, without emptying, but still, you know, my ostomy bag is not noticeable under my clothing, which is quite nice, especially at night. One of the things that I personally really struggle with when my ostomy output is looser is leaking, because either it's coming so fast that there's a lot in my bag at once, if I haven't gotten the chance to empty it, or it's just sneaky, and it seems like there's more enzymes in it. It tends to burn my skin a little bit more when it's looser output as opposed to thicker output. So I really like to use the gelling packets. I'm gonna call them packets because I don't pronounce it right. The little gelling packets, they're available by a number of different companies. The ones that I use are from Convatec. I think they're called Diamonds, but there's a number of companies. If you just look up gelling, ostomy, packet, sachets, whatever, you'll find, you know, a bunch of different types, and you can choose the one that you like. They just will thicken up your output. It makes it so it can't leak around your stoma, under your flanges easily, but also this is gonna sound a little gross, it allows you to mold your output and flatten it within the bag. I know, a little gross, but that's a struggle I have. As my output fills a bag, it all tends to go to the bottom, and that's when it becomes really noticeable. And if I do the gelling sachet, I can flatten it out pretty well, and even if my bag is like pretty full, you can't really see it. Also, if I'm having a few days where my output is looser and I'm struggling with it, I'll switch to the Ostoform seal. Now, in full transparency, both Convatec and Ostoform have sponsored me on this channel before. This video is not sponsored. These are the products that I use in real life, and that's why I'm very grateful to have them as sponsors, but this video is not sponsored. I really like using Ostoform Seal. It's called the Flow Assist because it has a little spout that directs the output downwards, and it also, around the actual seal, it's got like a layer protecting it, so that layer won't break down because of your output, because of the enzymes in your output. Whereas if you wear a regular seal, you might notice over time, especially once you peel your ostomy bag off, that it's kind of eroded. It erodes away. The Ostoform Seal doesn't do that, so I'll switch to that one, and I really notice the life of the ostomy bag extends, but I'm not having that leaking under the flange that winds up burning and being itchy when my output's loose. I think the final thing, and this is a tip that really I've learned a lot more recently, and it's helpful both in looser output and thicker output, like if you have pancaking issues, add a little bit of air to your ostomy bag. I am so used to, with my 2-piece ostomy bags, burping them and trying to get them as absolutely flat as possible. But I have found that if I add just a small amount of air, not so you can see it, not so it's a balloon, but just enough air that the front plastic of the bag is lifted away from the stoma slightly, that really helps everything just drain to the bottom of the bag, whether it's watery or not. I have done that quite a bit, and that honestly, doing that trick along with wearing the biker shorts or the high-waisted underwear when it's pressing your bag against you, the combo of that is really, really useful. That little bit of air allows it so your shorts or your high-waisted whatever is not completely pressing your bag against you, making it difficult for your stoma and the output to go to the bottom of the bag. So that's what I've been doing a lot recently. But again, I really think we're gonna wind up going to Walmart. I know, Walmart underwear, but hey, they looked pretty nice. I might grab a couple pairs of that because it's really nice, especially if you're like going to a wedding and you're wearing a nice long dress. Works really well. I did that last fall. I had a few weddings where I wore the Ostomy Secrets high-waisted underwear, and that like made the night. It made it so much easier, and it just gave me you know, more time away from the bathroom and less people looking at my belly. And we have 4 weddings this fall, so again, I'm gonna do that. Anyways, I think those are all my tips. Let me know if you guys have any other suggestions for managing loose output once it's already here. I've done videos about how I try to prevent it, so I'll link one of those below, but sometimes I can't prevent it, and loose output comes anyway, and I just have to manage the fallout of it. And I don't want to stop living life and leaving the house and doing the things that I want just because my ostomy is being a bit of a jerk. So this is what I do, but let me know if you have any tips for this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you are looking for a way to help support my channel, consider liking this video or even subscribing. You can also check out my store at LetsTalkIBD.shop. I have stickers and hoodies like these guys over here, just related to chronic illness and inflammatory bowel disease, something fun. And I also have a coupon code for my YouTube watchers. You could also become a member of my channel, like the wonderful people scrolling on screen here. They've become a member and they have access to videos a little bit earlier. It's a great way to support my channel, and really, just watching my videos means the world. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next.